Got I wasn't really seeing it here. Where is it? This right here, CPI. Oh, market just threw some volume. Yeah. All right. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to another Engineering the Markets. My name is Jared. It is July 6th, 2022. We're roughly midweek this week, so we're looking at overall performance on a shorter trading week. We're going to look and see some short-term opportunity that the market may be offering, along with how to use a particular market internal indicator, a very popular one and a very common one for day traders. I'll showcase how it should be applied along with some of the usage for it. And obviously that can be expounded upon with various techniques. So without further ado, let's look at our overall market condition from yesterday. Certainly was a net bullish day on the markets. We saw a bit of a trend form about mid-session, and that carried us to our close, where we closed pretty much at the highs of the day. We talked about this idea that the market location, at least in its current spot, is a bit precarious in regards to adding new risk. And that's mostly due to some of the upside potential of our trading channel, one of our major structures for the S&P so far, along with the idea that the market could be forming a potential higher low structure over the past couple days, with our kind of support area coming in on Thursday's low. So we're waiting to see if the market can make ultimately a much larger decision in this range. There's definitely some bullish defense coming in around this 372 area. And when you pull things up short term, you can kind of see what's been forming under the hood. We had our steep sell-off last week that brought us down to these price levels. And the market certainly is trading in between 375 to 380 on most sessions, with a bit of an over-under approach in regards to technique, when to be bullish, when to be bearish, and sort of what sessions to focus on. You load up something like a volume profile, and you can start to see this high value node that we've been trading near, about 375 to 376. This is a 10-day, 30-minute chart, so it certainly just pulls in the latest data. But I can pull it out to about 30 days, and what you'll notice is the VPOC doesn't really change too much. It's about 376.50 on a higher time frame. So we have this draw of the market to basically touch and retest this area. We're having a little bit of difficulty expanding much higher than our 380 print. And this is a pretty important area from last week. If you recall, this is where the quarterly expiration was pinned for the most part. And the market certainly likes to return to this area during rallies from the lows. So for the time being, we're kind of seeing how this balance area resolves itself. Past couple days, we have been in a period of balance where most of our daily candles are overlapping, and they're of course net bullish as we see them get bought up from the lower prints. So as it was also the first trading session on July yesterday, it's worth kind of looking around to see what activity is going on in the market. And these are areas that may not have been in focus for a period of time, but are starting to show a little bit of behavior that is outside of their regular trading structure. First things first, keep attention on a lot of our China related stocks. They're kind of knocking at the door of their swing high pivots on a lot of these names. And most of them have obviously bottomed out to some degree. I think one of our key stocks that we continue to focus on is BABA. And as you can see, yesterday was net bullish, but additionally, we're also pressing against what is essentially one of the stronger resistances for this stock, approximately 120. So as potentially China stocks become more in focus, we'll be looking to see if we can get something of a more macro uptrend as they're testing, in this case, the 200-day moving average, and a lot of our short to medium term moving averages have crossed. This is usually indicative of new trends trying to form as this larger trading range is being developed. Some other names to keep in focus. We talked about biotech being sort of a lead bull at this time. That combines well with the thesis that healthcare may also be a sector in focus for the next phase of the market or the next cycle of the market. You'll notice XBI had a really nice weekly breakout yesterday. Pull it up on a weekly chart, we can see that we had cleared a weekly pivot on our previous double bottom expansion. We had a nice 3-bar sort of setup, kind of setting up the weekly risk. And then now we're getting that nice expansion. So really just looking for this one to recover a bit of the larger downtrend. You'll notice the monthly has a clear support in this area. That's of course where our double bottom formed. And you combine that with some of the stocks that we've been seeing in play, there certainly is a draw to particular names, whether they be in the S&P or the NASDAQ, sort of our larger market cap names. These are often good day trading stocks. They do have good liquidity, but additionally, there's often one or two lower float names in the biotech sector. And this is where you might want to be looking closer at IWM, because if you bring up your kind of your construction of the Russell 2000, there's a massive section for IWM in healthcare, and specifically a lot of lower float biopharm type companies. You'll notice yesterday that pretty much is a full correlated bullish sector of the IWM, and that's focused most heavily inside of healthcare. So it kind of just adds more fuel to the fire that this is likely becoming a area of the market that's in focus. A lot of these percentage returns on a daily basis are quite high, and that's exactly what we're looking for as day traders, wide ranges, and lots of new money flowing into these particular names. You combine that with what we've also been stating, which is energy being a bit of a bullish sector collapsing. And that has been seen with the likes of our energy stocks. Once again, testing possible buy points. We'll look for a reaction at some point. This is a fairly major drawdown, but a lot of our asset classes are starting to break down as well. And this is putting a lot of pressure on our energy stock names. You'll notice that crude fairly convincingly broke trendline support. This is kind of our mid-range trendline support. We're also seeing a lot of volume confirmation on this breakdown. So as we saw with natural gas, once things kind of, I would say, broke or corroded in the structure of the trend, it often led to much more significant downside. Now, I combine this with the idea that the crude market, at least from the futures perspective, is still in contango. So when you look at product depth, you pull up maybe a couple of curves over the next full series, you'll notice that this market does have a contango structure out into December. Oh, this is the wrong one. There we go. That looks better. This market has contango structures. Actually, this is much further out. We're looking out into 2026. So we could narrow this down just until the end of the year and just maybe look at this curve. You'll notice that your closer expiration pricing for futures are much higher relative to your back month. That's indicative of a backwardated futures product, usually more of a bullish lean, but this is more going to take effect during rolling operations or as long as the structure remains. The spot pricing is certainly looking more bearish, but big picture crude could easily see a reversal in the near term simply because of how this market is structured. So be very careful with that concept more from the technical side. It is, however, putting pressure on energy stocks in the short term, and that can be seen very simply with our breaches and breakdowns of key moving averages, key levels, and obviously just the drawdown size that we've seen from the previous highs. So, okay, so with all that, let's shift over into the market internal discussion. We'll kind of use the last 15 minutes to cover that. And for this, I'm going to be looking exclusively at the SPY. What I want to do is open up something that's more of a day trading time frame. So for this, I'm looking at a 5-minute chart, and we'll pull up maybe the last couple of sessions, ignoring the pre and after market information, which I can certainly take off. You can just look at our 5-minute overview over the past couple of days. This is about 5 days covered here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to add a particular study set. In this instance, all I'm doing is adding what is known as the tick index, and I'm adding it to the bottom of my chart. For those unfamiliar, there is a particular index out there called the tick index. It is an index that showcases upticking versus downticking stocks in the NYSE. Not necessarily just S&P stocks. It's pretty much a full exchange worth of information. And it's typically viewed as a bit of an oscillating type of indicator for usually day traders. The reason being is the information tends to be short term. And even if you're looking at maybe longer term time frames, 15 to 60 minutes, probably the highest I would recommend, that information can fall off with new catalysts and new information just changing the perspective of the trend. So for this information, or for this this indicator, what are some key aspects of how to use it, and what is it representing, at a glance? So for that, we'll go ahead and zoom in, and we'll look at this in relation to the S&P price action. I'm actually going to change the study slightly. What I've done here is kind of showed as well how to put this onto your chart. I've added a comparison study. I've made sure that the study is comparing the tick index, which in this platform is $tick. In DOS, it's going to be opposite. It's going to be the word tick with a $sign following. So if you want to use it in DOS, I'll show that in just a moment. But whenever you have your comparison up, you can also look at the style that it's drawn in. A lot of people see this initially by default with a candle style, so I will apply that for now. And most views of the tick index will also show the 0 line as a highlighted area. The reason for that is going to become apparent in just a moment. But what you're looking at here is essentially your price action chart, and with the tick index overlaid, you're also seeing whether the market has a strong uptick or downtick reading at the point in time of certain price interactions. And what you'll notice is there's a couple of key areas of the market that are standing out on both your price action and also your tick reading. For one, you might want to be starting off with your morning auction, which lasts till approximately about 10 o'clock market time. So that initial 30 minutes of price interaction, what is the market doing from a price perspective? Are we heading lower or higher? And then what is the market as a whole doing in regards to our stocks moving up, moving down, and are they continuing to do so even if the market as a whole has a bit of a downward lean? And this example actually represents yesterday's trade. So we can see that the S&P started with a bit of a bearish lean. We gapped down on the open. We started off with a 5-minute sell-off candle, and overall the market was trading slightly below that 5-minute range. Now during this time, the tick was also fairly oversold. And what this means is as the market opened, a lot of stocks started off with down-ticking readings overall, sitting well below 1,000. And that's usually about your, from an oscillator perspective, that's about your line in the sand on the tick chart. 1,000, both positive and negative, tends to represent a bit of an overbought or oversold reading respective to the direction. So whenever we see this at the open, what we're seeing is that the market started in a weaker position. It has to recover or ultimately stay weak or net weak underneath, for example, the zero line. If we're going to see a lot of follow through on this downtrend, the market can, easily recover, but needs to stay down ticking, and the price action has to confirm. What you'll notice, however, is that we bottomed out for about a 5-minute period. We did have a 5-minute break of a previous candle's high. And during this time, the tick had reclaimed or retested the zero line. So a lot of stocks that were oversold had become neutral in their positioning, whether they've been upticking into that zero line. Essentially what you're thinking is half the NYSE stocks are upticking, half are downticking. That bit of a 50-50 view allowed for the market to basically start off with a neutral stance. And in that moment, we did see a breakdown. We saw a new 5-minute low after this 5-minute higher than the previous candle failed to do anything of importance. Now, during this low, it's important to look at your tick. Mostly if you're using this for confirmation or rejection, whether the market has a higher probability of downtrending from this point and continuing to downtrend, or can it basically be a trap, a failed breakdown, something that doesn't have the market internal strength to price the market lower. And what you'll notice is during this downtick or this breakdown on the price action, the tick itself, at least over the next 2 5-minute readings, stayed relatively stable near the zero line. There wasn't really a push much lower. And while we're testing 1,000, that's still, technically your oversold readings. A lot of the 5-minute closures are actually fairly strong, and they're coming back to our zero line. It's at this point that you might be looking at this breakdown as a bit of a trap, because at least from this one perspective, you don't have a lot of confirmation of stocks also down ticking during the breakdown. They're not really confirming relative weakness in the market. And as usual, when you see these divergences, the price action matters much more but it can warn you that ultimately this structure might break down. And what we can see is that over the next couple of 5-minute candles, we did reclaim that low. We made it all the way back up to our at least short-term swing high. And then we also attempted to go higher. And this is where we're starting to test high of day. Now you can notice here, the tick is actually reading above the zero line. So we are getting some NYSE market participation, but on the next candle, this collapses. This is confirming both in price action and in our tick readings that that uptick was basically an overshoot. The market wasn't ready to move higher, and therefore a lot of stocks, at least representing through the tick, had to pull back. And usually the size of the pullback represents more on the price action versus the tick reading. As the day goes on, we can kind of see, we're testing our lows once again. Tick readings overall are staying under the zero line. So from that perspective, if there is a thrust, especially a very strong price action reading to break low of day, we're structured a bit bearish, and we certainly could break down from here. We have a lot of rationale for that. But at this point in time, around the 10:30 to 10:40 time frame, once again, the tick changes. We see that we get higher than zero line readings. We're starting to see in price action and in tick reading a lot of the confirmation needed to support a possible trend that's forming. And throughout the rest of the day, as the market was uptrending, you can see that a lot of our pullbacks really only hit around the zero line. There's maybe one here that has some closure underneath. That one certainly had to sort of reclaim a bullish posture. But for the most part, the tick stays closing and elevated above your zero line, which showcases that pullbacks, at least from this perspective, are getting bought across the market. As multiple stocks will downtick, they'll pull back in price, but at usually the zero line, you want to see new buyers step in or new sellers, depending on the type of trend, along with the confirmation of the market making your higher low or lower low, and obviously breaking out of a new swing high. That price action confirmation always being anticipated and evaluated in the moment. Now, for this particular indicator, there's a lot of nuance in regards to how to use it and how to view it, especially when you're trading actively. Yesterday wasn't necessarily a trend day, but it did have a trend that formed, and it carried us throughout most of the afternoon session. You compare that with a session that maybe was a bit more consolidative or flat. And there's one that stands out here where the market was essentially trading in a range. I think I've got, our start time is right around here. So I'll kind of grab it based on the starting candle. So when you compare the view of the price action relative to your tick chart on a more range bound day, you'll notice that there's a couple of standouts. For one, usually when the price action is hitting a swing high or a swing low, especially on an established set of ranges, our 5-minute candle can easily be established as a bit of a trading area and establishes the highs and lows of the day. You'll notice that for the most part, your best advantage as a trader is actually to be looking for the market to react to these highs and lows. Usually signals and triggers for getting into your long or short trade can actually be seen on the tick chart, where as we are testing the low, as soon as we see readings above the zero line, we get long. We risk basically retesting or breaking low of day. And then we look to sell, usually when the market gets overextended. That can either be via price or it can be via tick reading. Once again, about 1,000 is where you're looking for that overbought or oversold reading. Additionally, same idea from the high. Obviously there are some moments where you might get into position. Depending on your risk tolerance, you might, potentially get stopped out if you're not risking a new high of day. But ultimately, this advantage near the high is actually playing down to the low. And once again, as the market kind of cycles through, there's a couple of opportunities to get through that high and low range, as the tick really never showcases anything of significance for a trend. You combine that with the price action, which never really broke out or down, and that kind of gives you the information needed to trade through this range, at least until something changes, whether it be a clear breakout or some sort of tick reading that indicates, changes in the market, new upticking or downticking readings across the market. Now, for DOS users, there is a way to visualize this as well. It's not going to be as concise as what's in Thinkorswim, but what I have here is a SPY chart. And what I've done is I've overlaid the tick using a new area. So for this, you would go to chart area, add new areas before or after. And inside of this area, if you're adding a new study, you'd want to add the overlay study with your tick. You'd also want to make sure to kind of scale it appropriately. I think this is, yeah, that should be accurate here. So it's showcasing this, actually kind of looks a little off here. So our midline looks to be about 400. I'll have to play with this a little bit. This is a bit of a in the moment configuration. But this is mostly to line it up with your price action. You'll notice that if I, zoom in or out, the tick overlay will keep with the price action. It'll make sure to stabilize what you're looking at versus which candles are forming. As far as I can tell, that's the best way to keep it within the price. But you can also open up a new price action chart and simply have the tick $ ticker loaded. Now for this, unfortunately, if you zoom in or out, if you, adjust your chart view, then the tick will also have to be adjusted. But if you set it up to where it's starting to print and read relative to the price at hand, and maybe tracking it live, depending on your time frame, you certainly could see how the tick chart is forming relative to new price candles being formed in the market. So, short and sweet, this is a great intraday indicator. I caution about using it outside of anything but intraday price activity. It is something, however, that can be aggregated and more of a cumulative view to see moments of shift in the market, along with any divergence. If you see new highs or new lows and the tick isn't really confirming that up thrust or down thrust, those are often moments to get engaged with the market, whether it be to reverse the trend or potentially just a profit take into strength with a potentially larger pullback incoming. So for that information, we'll certainly look at this a bit more. 15 minutes is not enough to really cover the full scope of tick. But for those who are new to it, it is a great indicator to look into, do a little bit of research, and start to play around with. How can it add advantage to your trading style? And how can it in some ways confirm and deny what you're already seeing inside of the price activity? So with that said, my name is Jared. This is Engineering the Market. Trade safe, and we'll talk more tomorrow.
All right. Good morning, my friends. Welcome to a pre-market prep. I hope everyone's having an amazing morning. Hope you guys had an incredible day yesterday. Good morning, Norm. How you doing today?
Hey, good morning, brother. I'm doing well. Your camera messed up?
I cannot hear you because I don't have my headphones on. Okay, just picking up my headphones here. Give me 1 second.
All right.
All right. Hey, Norm.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, there you go. Now I got you
Good
nice and
morning.
clear.
How are you?
Uh,
The camera not working today?
as good as it can be. But
Oh,
we're
yeah. I
doing
know
good,
you've got
guys.
a sick family, and dealing with that is awful. Sorry to hear it.
Yes, no worries, man. It's getting better,
Hopefully, they're
but
starting to feel better.
yeah, it's getting better. All right, guys. Good morning, guys. Welcome. Hopefully, you guys had an amazing day yesterday. I didn't not trade yesterday. Did not watch the markets at all. But at the end of the end of the market, I did see end of the day. I saw that it was an amazing day as far as the rally that took place yesterday. Norm, I mean, this looked really
Yeah,
good
I mean,
here.
market was down pretty big. 2%, I believe, on most
Mm-hmm.
on the SPY and Nasdaq, and
Yeah.
then a huge bounce, which good sign. We'll see. We'll see what transpires as we've discussed. Um, with 2 p.m.'s the big one we'll talk about in a second, but 9:45 the S&P Global U.S. Services PMI. That's a final read on that. ISM Services Index at 10. JOLTS, which is job openings and quits, that's at 10 as well. And then FOMC minutes, which is essentially the internal discussion behind the fiscal policy and rate policy that was announced 2 weeks ago. So that's out at 2 o'clock. Should be interesting. Um, yeah, market bouncing back. Maybe a decent sign. I think I've mentioned it. A lot of people were saying we weren't going to be in a recession. I've said that I thought we were for a couple of months, or at least real darn close. And some people are starting to kind of say the same. So the first thing, if we can get through that and actually get that over with, maybe things will be better sooner rather than later. Who knows how deep or hard it will be when and if the recession happens? But yeah, let's see how this day turns out. It kind of a not great list, Gapper's list this morning. I'm a bit uh, skeptical of how good things will be. I mean, the only one on the Gap up is a buyout. The others are kind of ho hum names. I think things might be a little sluggish today until the minutes come out later. People vacate like we talked about yesterday. So let's see how today goes.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, excellent, guys. Let's get to it. Let's see what we have here for today's list. I'm going to remove the stuff from yesterday. Obviously, we're not going to go through that because I just have no idea what took place there. So Control A, Control X, but for the most part, it looks like it was just a sell-off pre-market and then a beautiful bounce into the day trading day. So let's take a look here. What we have on deck, as Norm mentioned, things are not looking too good. Hopefully, they can get better. But for the most part, a little bit on the choppier side today. I'm going to go ahead and set up my trade ideas, get that link going here for our Dash Trader Pro platform. And doing that, we should be all set. All right, let's start with the only one gapping up this morning, and not just gapping up, I mean, completely tearing it up here, up 65%, RFP. And we have a huge gap up here. Looks like a buyout, right? I mean, this does
Yeah,
not
that's
look
what I was
great.
talking about. It's
Yeah,
a
oh, this the
it's
ticker
a
here. Yeah. So not looking good, guys. On that one, we'll skip that. Let's look at KN and R KR and T. So KR and T, big the gap down here of 23%, 158,000. Little light on volume for the most part. The stock doesn't get any volume. Usually trading under 1 million here. So this is Cornet and Digital. No, what's the latest and greatest on this one?
Yeah, they pre-announced earnings, and they're pretty horrible. So this is an Israeli company.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not a fan of this.
Yeah. Yeah, it looks on the concerning side, even with some big moves here, the volume is just not there. We spoke a little bit about yesterday in our presentation, the success webinar about these type of stocks that just get no volume, although they're moving big. this is a perfect example of one of them. Here's Dash, DASH. Again, DoorDash, it's one of those companies that's very difficult to trade. They're down 7.5 today, which
Yeah.
normally when things are dropping with the overall market, this is not the first ticker that comes to mind, right? Do they have their own stuff going on today?
Yeah, Uber and DoorDash are getting hit a little bit. Amazon has bought a small, I think it's like 2% of the company in Grubhub, so that's hitting their rivals. There's also some word of some things going along EU with the EU regulatory issues
Mm-hmm.
that they might have. I heard something like raided some offices over there, having to do with some delivery companies. Uber specifically said they weren't part of that. I don't know if Dash was or not. That's adding to their issue or not.
All right, so that's not good.
So it's kind of a combo
Yeah, yeah.
there.
So Dash could be interesting today. We'll put it on here for now. Let's see if that develops into anything. Next, we have LYT, which we've seen before. It's
Again,
just a pure garbage. I mean, this is this is nothing to look at here.
yeah.
Let's look at FFIE. FFIE lower price stock here. We're up 3 points, down 3.6, 545,000. A couple of days here had a nice little pop. Looks like it was some great volume yesterday, 101 million. And again, I'm not sure what this company is here, but if you look at
This is an
yesterday's
EV
action,
company, electric
it is.
vehicle company.
Did well yesterday.
Yeah, it's got a pretty high short float. It's like the least favorite of these, but it got the big pop yesterday for sure.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
Yeah, it got some good volume, traded very well. For the most part, before this, they have not done much, but maybe something's cooking with these guys here. So we'll add them to our possibles list, maybe, kind of see where this goes. FFIE. All right, we'll throw that there. Next, we have Uber. Again, Uber now with the news here, as Norm mentioned, could be in play today. Not the best trader sometimes for intraday trading, but today could be worth watching, at least as a possible maybe. Here's Coin down 3.2. The issue I'm seeing with it now is just it has no volume. There's just no good volume at the moment for this one. So we'll keep it off deck for now. HCA. Oh, no. No, this is no good here. Just nothing happening there on that one. Norm, I know it's looking very light today. Do you have anything that you like so far?
my pillow.
Yes, absolutely. Let's take it to a room, guys. And again, it's gonna be one of those
Wimbledon.
days where we don't have to force it. We can take it easy and wait for setups, wait for things to pop up that are gonna be in play. Right now, it's not looking too good. So, all right, what do you guys like this morning? Let's see here. Jose is giving us Disney. We'll take a look at Disney here at the moment. No volume on Disney.
Is this just because Thor was there or what?
Yeah, is it because
There's
of
no
that? I mean
volume.
yeah. That was yesterday that
Maybe
did
something
well.
gets going with it, but yeah.
Yeah, it's quiet right now. Very, very quiet. CCL, TDOC. I don't like the way TDOC trades. I mean, it's just it can put in some good days. We've seen it rip really nice. I just don't like the price action of this stock at all for the most part. Yesterday did very well, but again, looking at what happened yesterday, I wouldn't give them too much credit for this. But they're gapping up though, when many things are just flat or gapping down. Look at the daily. Now this could be interesting based on this daily here. This could be
It
interesting. I
does look
still don't.
interesting on the daily.
Yeah, right. It's still not my favorite. But we could put it up here today. That daily does look very
It
nice.
deserves a spot up. If
Yeah,
there's any day for it to deserve a spot up top, this
it's
would be
today.
it.
That's it. It's today because we're not gonna get better than this on TDAC. At least we haven't seen yet. Right. So TDAC is good. Let's take a look at CCL. This morning, great day. Yesterday, today, you know what? Today's pretty much the same like many stocks. It's pretty much flat right now. You had the big rally yesterday. You're just kind of gonna wait to see what the market's going to do next. I don't think this thing is really in play on its own, and we're not seeing overwhelming volume yet. 837,000 for CCL. That's nothing, right? That's like 100,000 for AMD. So it's not really showing anything great. But I am gonna put them as a possible because if they do get going, this could be a good one. They've been beat up quite a bit and they can use some upside movement here. Um, Good morning, KZIA. KZIA. Let's see here, KZIA. No, we saw this before too a couple of times here. It just doesn't look good at all. 2.6 million shares traded. Yeah, I just don't like this. What's the float on this, by the way, too? KCIA.
It's an Australian biotech. They did get
Hmm.
something out of the FDA on a childhood brain cancer treatment.
Yeah, yeah.
So maybe it has a catalyst, but as we've discussed, these can be extremely difficult to trade, and it's a $5 stock.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I don't like the way it's moving now too. It had the initial pop here, and we're just kind of settling down. So I'm just not liking a lot of things on this one. So let's head down to Baba. So Ben is giving us Baba and Amazon. This morning, Baba 297,000. I like the daily here for a possible breakout. Volume is okay, not great, but worth possibly keeping as a possible. Next we have Amazon. You put on there. Let's take a look at Amazon. Good volume on Amazon, 1 million. Good day yesterday, as of course many stocks. Yeah, it could be, and again, it's another possible as well. I think a lot of stocks are going to look just like this, right? Just like Amazon, just like Baba. I think that's going to be the song and dance across the thing here. But for the most part, I don't see anything that's making them, in play heavily at the moment. So next we have Save. No volume on Save at all, man. 5,000 shares trade. I mean, this thing is not in play at the moment. And so Save is no good. We'll look at T-Doc. T-Doc is good. Amazon is okay. Roblox was good yesterday. Was it? Again, I didn't trade yesterday or look at stuff yesterday. Roblox, let's see. RBLX. Well, a lot of things were good yesterday, right? I mean, but they were extra good. Okay, I see what you're saying. Yeah, they were extra good yesterday here. A nice, beautiful breakout. This could, Roblox could be interesting because they got so extended on the daily. That could be interesting. Even if I don't think it's gonna rally again like this, a very big move, but maybe a possible sell-off here could be nice. We'll see. Roblox BRLX. Yeah, let's see what happens there. Amazon is good. Roblox is good as well. Apple is moving. Let's take a look at our buddy Apple. It is moving, and yeah, actually, it's got some decent moves here in pre-market activity. Was down quite a bit, right? So let's add Apple, one of our buddies here. Apple seems to be doing its own thing, right? Because the SPY, no, it's kind of moving with the SPY, but although the SPY is doing this is one of the better stock that's kind of following suit. And look how clean it is, right? So yeah, they're definitely in play. NVIDIA could be another one to watch as well, guys. You can see it here. They're getting a better volume than usual, than other tickers are right now. So NVIDIA is good. AMD is another one of our favorites. Let's take a look at that one. Same thing. Tech companies are doing well here following the SPY. I'm going to put NVIDIA and AMD as a possible here. I do have Apple. I just don't want to tie up our main list. But Apple is up here, and that will represent, all of our tech tickers if you want to do that. Meta. Let's take a look at a few more here. Meta today. They're pretty quiet right now. Pretty quiet. They probably can get volume with the market open, but for the most part, pretty quiet at the moment. Edit, ED.
Jared made a nice point here that tech's
Yeah.
likely to be in play as rates keep falling. We've had a big pullback on the 10-year specifically. And it was above 3. Now it's pulled back below 2.8 last I looked. So that should help tech, and it should be interesting to see how that plays out.
Nice. All right, we'll be on the lookout for that. We already can start seeing, some of these tech companies trading very well. Here's Apple, Nvidia, and AMD. You could tell that they're looking really, really nice this morning. IBR, yeah, Roblox is good, guys. I have it on here. Was good yesterday, and today they're moving actually nicely this morning, and their daily looks interesting for a move either way there. So that could be nice. All right, guys. I think that's it. I don't see anything else you guys are throwing out. We got again for the type of day that is. We got a pretty decent list. I think this is as good as it's gonna get right now. It can get better, of course, and we'll be on the lookout for that. Let me go ahead and get our webinars page here, so we can start there, and then we can come back. And if you guys have anything else we can look at, we can also check that out. Here we go.
Just a reminder, somebody asked earlier, Dr. Dave, I believe it was, and I apologize. Let's see if I can find it. Dr. Dave asked, new members where they can start to get an idea. I posted, if you go to the dashboard right when you sign in, there's a video there. That is the first place to start. And then also orientation every Monday night with Carlos, 7 p.m. Eastern. He will show you that. And he'll go through a lot of that. So be sure to attend that. There's also recorded versions of that. If you don't want to wait until next Monday to see it, you can check that out. Then next Tuesday, Thor, 8 p.m. Eastern, talking about market theory. The following week will be Artie. He's going to be talking about introduction to options and day trading options. Those are both on Tuesday at 8 p.m. Then Wednesday, psychology. Tonight, we've got Dr. Kenneth Reed talking about 10 things you need to know about bear markets. I cannot wait to see this webinar. I hope to see it live. It's right at the same time I put my son to bed, essentially, so might have to watch the recording in the next day or so, but check that out. And next week, 5 p.m. special time because of her time zone, is Kreda talking about imagining your way to trading success. Thursday's mentoring, 11 a.m. with John, 4 p.m. with Ed, and 8 p.m. with Thor. Then don't forget about stocktradingsimulator.com for those few days a week where we don't do a webinar. You can practice on our free web-based trading simulator, replay simulator. Just go to stocktradingsimulator.com. And last but not least, if you were watching on YouTube and haven't been in the chat, you'd like to try it out, use the promo code PreMarket24 to get a discount off the intro membership. That's 7 calendar days, 5 trading days in the room. It does not auto renew. You have to actively go choose another membership if you want to continue on. And Dr. Kenneth Reed still doing this for now. The Reed 50 promotion, half off. I'm not sure when it will go away, but I anticipate soon. Read 50 half off the Elite Annual membership and a free one-on-one coaching session with Dr. Kenneth Reed.
All right, Norm, thank you very much. All right, guys, let's get to it. Let's get to our list here. So far we have Dash, which looks very good this morning. We have Uber, which as well is very active with the news that's going on there as usual. Uber, I'm not a big fan, but we'll see where it goes today. It does have a good pre-market activity. TDAC, also beautiful daily. Hopefully this pre-market can get going and we can get some action out of this one. Roblox, great pre-market activity. Also nice daily, even before this pop. Roblox had a real nice daily here as well. So hopefully that can continue here. Seems like Roblox has been trading very well since mid-June here. Mid-June, you can see the difference in their trading. So we'll have to keep a close eye on that. I know Rage TV is probably watching Roblox every single day because every time I ask for a ticket, that's the one he brings up is Roblox every day. So hopefully you did well yesterday, my friend. Here is Apple. Apple right now good as well. So yeah, let's get levels for these. These are looking okay. Let's start with Dash. Low of the pre-market at the moment, we are sitting at a 68.44. So 68.44, we're slamming level there. And then towards the top, the high of the pre-market, we're sitting at 73.96. So that's a big range. In between here, you actually have a level you can mark down. It's going to be this one here, 71.69. If you draw a line across the board, good level there, good midpoint between that high and low of the pre-market if things can get going. Again, not the best trading stock, but I think today, if there's any day to watch this one, I think today might be it because they actually got a decent catalyst this morning. Uber as well following suit here. Today looking rather active for the most part. 21.65 low of the pre-market. Towards the bottom, highs and lows of the last 2 trading days are doing pretty good there. And then towards the top, we do have our pre-market highs pretty much for the previous day closes. So I'm not going to bother marking that. I'm just going to take the previous day close. That's the main level to have up there towards the top. And you can see that's where most of the action is anyway. If you see that there, that's where many of the stocks are closing, opening, and seeing some resistance in there. So that's what you want to keep on there. Above this, we do have an area around, I'm going to mark 23. So 23, a couple of days showing support here, a little bit of resistance here as well. And then you have your next above this is 23.45. Again, for Uber to move within this range, it's got to be a real big catalyst, a real big movement. They tend not to do that for the most part. So we'll see. We'll see what happens today. TDOC here, guys. Very strong day yesterday. Strong open today, up 3%. I mean, not many stocks that are up 3% this morning. Why isn't it on our gappers list? It should be here. Oh, the volume. That's what. All right. It's not hitting 100,000 yet, but just of one of the stocks that are in the green. Everything else, for the most part, is in the red and just trying to climb out into green territory. We see Roblox, Apple, actually Nvidia and AMD in our secondary list. They're just getting over the hump here into the green territory. Apple's trying to follow suit here as well. So we should have some more stuff in the green if this direction continues. 40.30 is the high of the pre-market on TDOC. And what we love about this daily today, when we look to the left and we saw this, this is what's exciting for TDOC because you got this big giant gap down what we had in this was what, April. I mean, look at the drop here, guys, going from 60, what was this, 60-ish almost there, down to this thing opened up lower than 35. So ooh, that is rough. But here they're looking to hopefully get going, and they tested this area a couple of times. And they're looking to hopefully start closing this gap. So that could be interesting if we can get into that momentum towards the top side here. As far as levels above this, I have 56. Obviously, we got to go to the left. We got to find something in between here, right? You just can't have your next level be at 56 from 40, especially on a gap down like this. We do have a somewhat not quite little above the midpoint area, 49.98. It's a level there, of course. And man, this stock has, wow, look at this. Let's see what's going on here. Let's go back more left. We haven't been in this area maybe when the pandemic hit, right? When the pandemic hit, this would have been, oh, no, actually, no, before that. Before that, this would have been right around, so the pandemic saved the stock. We were looking at a 45.97, and then we're looking at 42.74. So a couple of good levels there to go off. I mean, we're going back to 2018, guys. These are pretty old, but I won't be surprised if everybody else is looking at this because that's all you have. There is literally nothing else down here between this gap, right? So if you're looking for something, you're gonna end up coming back over here. You're not gonna pull off levels out of thin air here. You're gonna be looking at this area. So would not be surprised if many traders are doing the exact same thing this morning. So that's TDOC there, guys, looking good as far as levels towards the bottom. You are set. That is looking very nice. Roblox, as we mentioned, big day yesterday, but before this big day, their daily seems to be getting a little nicer here. Volume's still the same. You know, they got a couple of spikes here, which is nice, like they did yesterday. Let's see how this trades today. Looking decent so far. The morning right now, 267,000 shares traded, which is not bad for Roblox. But they'll get volume at the market open. They usually do. 39.25 low of the pre-market. The high of the pre-market, that's the high from yesterday as well. So right on there, that 40.33 is the high from yesterday. So you're set on marking that level. If we were to break out of this, Roblox, as you know, has been much higher. We're gonna mark down here 42.60, great level, tons of action around that daily level there, there, a couple of days opening, closing right in that area. Some more support happening here, then a little bit of resistance. So this thing has been played both sides of the field here, so that's nice. Yeah, so I think you're good there. Towards the bottom, below the price action, there is a level at 37.42. So I'm gonna mark that there, and then outside of that, I think you're pretty much set when it comes to Roblox. Let's take a look at Apple. Apple, beautiful pre-market action right now. Nice daily yesterday. And if we look at this pre-market activity, was trying to get into the green territory, but having a little bit of a pullback at the moment. Low of the pre-market, we're looking at 140.23. And once you put that level there, your high of your pre-market pretty much around the previous day close. I'm going to use that instead as my levels here. Above that previous day close, we do have 143.59. It's a good area to mark down. I've got a couple of days using that support resistance. So you want to have that on that's very clean. And then above, it's got another clean level sitting right over here around 148. This will be exactly 147.57. So throw a level there as well. And that should be good to go. All right, Apple looks good. We got Nvidia and AMD down here as well, which actually look very good. They're already in the green, getting a little bit of a pullback, but they're in green territory. Apple is trying to catch up here. So you can swap Apple for these if you like these better, but they're also looking good as well. Amazon also moving nicely here this morning in our secondary list. So not bad. The list, it looks like the list started off a little rough. It's getting a little bit better, especially if tech is going to be in play. Like Jerry mentioned, I think that can create some great opportunities for us this morning. Take a quick look at the SPY. The SPY did go green for like half a second. and is now back down into the red. Let's see if we can hold here and get this rally going. Day looks very interesting as well. I mean, we have a little bit of a resistance area right on here that we've been kind of struggling with the last couple of days, the last 4 days, 1, 2, 3, 4 days, right? That has been an issue. We're gapping down, slamming up, gapping down, slamming up. We can't get rid of that. Today we're just here at the moment. So let's see if that's gonna rally right through that. Fabio's giving us Roku. Let's take a look at Roku. I love the push here we had in Roku yesterday, right? Very, very nice. Volume though is it's on the lighter side, 57,000. But we know Roku can put in a really good day with that. But I haven't seen Roku trade well in a while. So I don't know if today's the day, man. This could be the sleeper today. This could be the sleeper, right? If this does something, it's gonna shock us pretty much. So we'll see. Is there any news on it, Fabio? Anything that we should be aware of? If there any news, that can actually be pretty good. Rage TV saying he hates Roblox. I highly doubt that. American Airlines, Melvin. We did look at American Airlines earlier, or was it CCL? But there was nothing, happening here. Their volume as well, very light, only 184,000, which is really not a whole lot of volume right now. I think CCL had a little bit more. They were like at 800, if I'm remembering correctly. So that's looking a little bit better. 900,000 now. So I have them as my possible here, but yeah, American Airlines not really in play at the moment. No news yet, Fabio. So if there's no news on Roku, I mean, it's one of these stocks that doesn't move a whole lot, unless there's any catalyst. So I had a big day yesterday. I don't think they're going to repeat this unless the market, right? But if you look at Roku, the few times they had anything going, the market created it. So when the market is doing that, you can look at anything and you'll be all right. You can look at Apple, you can look at AMD, Nvidia, even sometimes BABA tickers, some Chinese tickers get going as well. So there's other stuff that you're going to be able to find that can do pretty good here. You like the set? Yeah, yep, I agree. The setup is nice. Setup is nice here if we can hold here and get going. But I just don't think they can do this on their own without a catalyst. Let's take a look here. If you risk $100 and profit 500, is that 5R? Yes, that is exactly how it works. So the R's are basically what you're risking. That's your R amount, so you're risking. So if you risk $100, that's 1R, right? So you lose 1R. If you made $500, then you made 5R. So that's exactly how that will work. You have that correct. So it's basically like saying 2 to 1, like you want to risk 1 to make 2, 1 to make 3. It's the same thing. Beam. So Beam has no volume. 557. No, sorry. 557. I was gonna say almost 557,000 because I'm so used to saying thousands. Yeah, this has nothing. This is not something you want to be looking at. At least Jerome, not right now, right? Yesterday, and even yesterday. See, there's a great example of a stock that I will not be watching at all, regardless of what happens here. Look at yesterday. Yesterday you traded 1.8 million shares, and you went from 39 to 47. So I can only imagine what that price action looked like. I mean, yeah, this is horrible, right? Look, you're getting what 500 shares, if that 10,000 shares maybe. And look at where you're moving and you're gapping up. This is very scary here. How thin this is. It is very scary. This will be a good one to kind of put in the stock simulator and kind of you can see how bad this price action is. It's like watching I won't say paint dry, but it's just watch something go like this. There's no order flow whatsoever on something like this, and to take trades on that could be painful. And then after that, although it trends nicely, it does it with no volume whatsoever. So again, you need that volume. I'm sure the spread was probably horrible on top of that. So yeah, I'm sure that was not great at all. What else do we have, guys? So that is Beam is no good. NVAX had a catalyst. NVAX. What was the catalyst on NVAX? Big day yesterday. If you look at this here, much different story, right? Look at this 5 minute and the intraday action. Look, you could just without looking at the volume, you could tell how nice and clean that was. And obviously you had great volume down here, 100,000 for every candle. And again, that's great volume for NVAX. You know, on an AMD and Nvidia, you know, 100,000 for 5 minutes is not a lot. That's actually pretty bad. But for this company, you know, that's significant volume. They've been getting going the last couple of days, right? A nice little pop here, a little consolidation action. The last 2 days have been well. What's the catalyst, by the way? Let's go over to tradingterminal.com and see what our catalyst is for NVAX. All right, hit the news here. We'll head on down to NVAX and see what is the latest and greatest. We got some stuff going on here. Microsoft, 69 billion Activision takeover faces competition probe in the UK. That could be interesting. All right, so NVAX, what we got going on? COVID vaccine authorized in the Europe Union for, okay, ages 12 and 17. All right, that's good. That's actually great. Great catalyst. FDA approval, FDA officials, Mark says US can authorize. All right, so it looks like they got a couple of approvals, and that's what's moving them well this morning, and it looks like yesterday as well. This is old. This is 6 days ago. But this one here is 24 hours ago, right? And actually, this might be the reason why they've been moving so well the last couple of days, right? That's obviously going to help them. Walgreens, well, that's negative there, but I guess it's not as strong as the positive stuff, right? So yeah, they're looking good this morning, guys. As far as I'm sorry, in the daily, as far as pre-market, not great, but it can be a good possible. I'm not a big fan of NVAX, just because the way the volume is and the price action, they can trade well, but they can be a little funky at times. That's just my take on it. But Fabio on YouTube, yeah, this can be pretty good if it gets going. So, all right, yeah, that'll be 5R. Yeah, 5 approved under 12 years old could be a great catalyst for this ticker. Amazon is good. What else, guys? Anything else you guys like this morning? Ross is giving us IINN. I put too many N's. IINN. No. This has 8 million. I mean, I don't. Yeah, it's risky. I don't like the pre-market the way it's forming. 8 million shares. And the reason for that is because it's a lower price, right? If you have 8 million, 8.1 million shares traded on a stock that's, you know, 15, 18, $20, you are most likely not gonna have this type of price action. I mean, this looks dead, even though you're pushing volume through here. You're not really doing much, right? I mean, these candles here, guys, these are what? This is we're looking here at 1.2 million shares traded in a 5 minute, and you're not doing a whole lot. The ones below that, 400,000, 500,000. This one, 2.4, is starting to get movement here. But yeah, I don't like this pre-market activity right now. So flow on this thing, it must not be a low flow, maybe. What is it? Oh, it is a low flow. So yeah, it's moving weird for a low flow. I don't like the way this movement is happening here. It's not steady. It's not fluid. That's probably the best word. It's not fluid the way this is moving. Maybe from here on it'll get better. But it already traded 8.3 million and it hasn't done anything great just yet. Again, I usually would not trade low flow, but if I was looking for something, this wouldn't be it right now. So we'll have to wait a little bit more. Yep, AMD we have. Baba is good. Neo, how's Neo today? How is Neo this morning? Down 1.7, 707,000. So you got some volume on Neo as well. This could be a nice one today also. Is that Rivian? Wow, we haven't looked at Rivian in quite some time. Oh, look at Rivian. Let's go to tradingterminal.com, see what our news is causing. What's causing Rivian to get going here this morning. 3 minutes ago, we got Rivian says produce 4,000 vehicles in Q2 and deliver 4,000. They deliver more than what they created, which is nice. All right, so that's good. I believe it's on track to deliver 25,000 annual production guidance. All right, so that's positive news for them. Double digits. The General Motors is making only this many. Okay, so this news here is positive for them and just released 3 minutes ago, and that is moving well, my friends. Yeah, good stuff on Rivian here right now. So we're seeing that pop happening, up 4.3, 350, 54,000. We haven't What was the last time we looked at Rivian? It's been a while, at least for me. Up 4.6 right now. This could be what brings it back into play for a little bit at least. So let's see what happens here. Rivian is nice, good pop at the moment. As far as levels, let's get some stuff done here. See if we can be prepared for it. Right in between here, we do have a level at 28, 19. So we're slamming up against that right now. But you can see across the board a couple of days, just kind of slamming against that. So that could be interesting. Above that, you do have another one, 29.46, and then clearly up here, very easy, 30.70, right? So nice three levels there above the price action. 28.19 is setting up for a pre-market high right now, but you can clearly tell that could have been an area because just the way the daily is. If you look up, that's where you see a lot of the touches there. So looking good right now, guys. 400,000 shares traded and climbing. Let's see if this volume is going to stick here. They're up 3.1. Good catalyst. Let's see if it's not a fluke, if we're actually going to get going here on a Rivian for the long term. Frankie, welcome to the community. Glad to have you here. Welcome. Frankie's new member to the BBT family. Our moderators are getting their list together as we get closer here to 9:15. We have Thor, we have Susan already. So if you haven't done so, guys, over on YouTube, hit that thumbs up. We appreciate it very much. Try to get to 400 likes usually. We're sitting at 170. If you could help us there, we always very much appreciate it. When you talked about Beam and NVAX, couldn't tell how Beam and NVAX were different. Can you go over that? Oh, absolutely. Yeah. So let's go over that, Peter Fee. So if you look at Beam, right, look, we're not looking at just the daily, right? So maybe the daily are the same. Is that what it was? Let's go to NVAX. Let's go to NVAX. On the top, I'm going to put the daily on NVAX here. And it's probably going to be the same because a lot of stuff, yeah. So a lot of stuff moving with the market. So you have this kind of pop here. Now, here's the difference, right? Here's the difference. If you look at Beam this morning, they have 560,000 shares traded. So the daily looks all right. I don't like it because as far as the volume, but as far as the pattern looks the same. So that's probably what you saw there. But if you look at the actual details, let's go now to our intraday action, right? This is yesterday. Don't look at this. This is all yesterday's intraday. Your pre-market action is right here. It's nothing happening, right? Just one guy probably made a mistake here and bought 560 shares of this stock, and that's all you're seeing there, right? So when you look at NVAX, the difference with NVAX is you actually have some shares being traded here. You got a couple of thousand shares being traded here. Now, NVAX is not going to give you, and this goes back to our presentation yesterday where we talk about some tickers that you start knowing by memory because you trade them so much, you look at them so much. NVAX is one of these tickers that we know for a fact, or it's not going to get great volume. It can still put in a decent day. It trades a little bit funky, so you got to be a little more careful with it. You got to have a different style of trading. Maybe some strategies don't work as well with this type of ticker. These are all things you're going to learn. These are not going to be on a book, right? You're going to learn these as you build the experience and build that niche that you're going to be trading and build your trade book. So there's some stuff that it's just not teachable per se, because nobody's going to sit and teach you every single stock. There's thousands of stocks, right? I don't think there's anyone teaching the characteristic and the DNA of every single stock because it's just it'll be a never-ending class, and then that class will get expired very quickly because things change, right? So by the time you learn the characteristics of AMU back in the days, which is a great trader, next MU now is not even tradable unless there's any news, right? So things will change. So that will come with experience. We know for a fact that NVAX can still put in a good day after having this horrible pre-market activity. These guys here, I don't think they could put in a good day even if we pay them. I mean, they're just not good because look at this volume too. Look at the volume you're getting overall. 1.1 million shares traded is extremely light, guys. When you have that type of volume and you're moving, $7 on the whole day, I guarantee you that pre-market, that intraday action is going to be horrible. The spread is going to be bad. And for the way we trade, we need that spread to be tight. We need it to be tight. We need volume. That's what makes our strategies and our opportunities work much, much better, right? So that's important. All right. Anything else, guys? So thank you for the question. Hopefully that was clear. Hopefully that helped. But that's the difference between those two as far as what we're looking for this morning. Thank you, Steve. Appreciate it. Can we look at Dash? Dustin, we did look at Dash, and we actually do have Dash on our list. I think it's a good one for today. They rarely make our list because they're not a great trader. It's another ticker as well that you can see down here. Very light volume for the most part. Their spread could be a little bit funky at times, but today they got decent volume, 323,000, which for them is really good, right? excuse me, which for them is really good. So yeah, that's something we could watch today, and hopefully we can get a good move out of this one. Yeah, Dustin, it is in play. Yeah, it is in play today. Yeah, Dash is in play for sure. Is it my favorite stock? No. Is it the best pre-market we've seen from them in a while? Yes. They have also a nice move that happened yesterday. Can that trigger something today? Maybe. And they also have a catalyst, right? So they got a couple of things that's making them pretty decent for us to watch this morning, alongside Uber as well, which is also another one that's not a great trader, right? They get steady volume, 25 million shares traded for the most part, but they're not explosive at all. They're not explosive at all. So yesterday they had a big move. The SPY had a lot to do with that, but they also got their own catalyst behind here this morning that's creating this move with this $400. So today will be a good day to watch these guys. All right, last question here. We could look at the SPY in just a second. Why is the Chinese value on pretty much everything so significantly lower than normal? Well, I think people they tend not to want to trade Chinese stocks, so the volume is going to be a lot lower. But it depends. If you look at Bob, if you look at Neo, their volume is actually pretty decent. Now, if you look at some other companies that are not as big or not as well known, that are not just Chinese, that are foreign companies, they tend not to get the best volume. There's a lot of investors. Remember, guys, we're not the only ones trading this market. There's investors, there's firms, there's people that are putting some big amounts, retirement funds, and some of these retirement funds are only U.S. based, right? Only domestic, and some people don't like to put heavy money overseas, right? Because it could be a little bit unstable. So it's not just us retail traders. There's heavy money on there, and that could be the cost of that as well. All right, guys, 9:15. Let's get to our moderators lineup. We got a few on here already. As I am doing this, hit that thumbs up over on YouTube. Let's bring our moderators list and see what everyone else is watching, starting with our buddy Thor here. Thor was in Disney yesterday, so hopefully you had a good time there, but man, with your family. Thor here, good morning, traders. He is watching DAS, Amazon SPY, and the Qs. We'll look at SPY next before we hop off here. Susan is watching DAS, Uber, TDOC as well, which are all looking very good this morning. And the second is the tech stocks. They're all moving very well today too. I think it'll be a nice tech day, as Jared mentioned this morning. Guys, remember, we start at 8 a.m. with Jared engineering the market, so make sure you're tuning in for that and getting the macro situation happening with the SPY and the overall market. Really, really good stuff every morning. Demo, Amazon, Rivian, AMD, and Apple. Megan will be looking at DAQ, BA, PayPal, and the SPY. I think Megan picked every ticker that we did not look at today. So great job, Megan. I'm sure she has a nice list for a reason there. And that is it, guys. That is all said. Brian and Andrew are up next, trading live with you in just a second here. So stay tuned for that here in our chat room. For those members over on YouTube, thanks for joining us. We appreciate it very much. We're going to see you guys tomorrow again at 8 a.m. Tomorrow is what day? I don't even know what day it is. It's not Friday, right? No, it's not Friday. It's Thursday. So we'll see you at 8 a.m. tomorrow with Engineering the Markets with Jared. Take care, trade safe, hit that thumbs up, and have an amazing day.